black-tailed goatfish, or uwama. They actually have two names. But when they become an adult, they will actually start to produce a black spot on their side. Oh, we got an adult one out there. And what they'll do is they will actually produce a hallucinating toxin, and once that happens, their name changes from uwama to beke, or ghost. That hallucinating toxin is said to, if you eat one of them, it's said to give you really bad nightmares. But apparently in the 60s, that was a very popular fish. Oh, we're coming up to a very beautiful carpet of these uwama. You see those black fish up there? That looks like a little watermelon seed with the tail. That's called a lavender tang, or maiki here in Hawaii. Alright, we got us a beautiful pair of pyramid butterfly fish. That's that white-bodied fish with the orange head and tail area.
Oh, look at them.
Alright, we're coming up to a very beautiful school of blue-lined snapper. These were actually introduced into Hawaii waters in 1959. That's that white-bodied, all-yellow fish out there in that nice school. They were introduced in 1959 as well as classified as a nearshore food source, because back then a lot of us local native population utilized coral reef fish as a primary food source. So marine biologists went to Tahiti, found that these fish are about 5 to 6 pounds, so they brought them back thinking that we would have the same size. But they didn't realize that Hawaii's cooler temperature waters would stunt its growth. So instead of being 5 to 6, they max out at 2 to 3. But they're still very good to eat. It just takes a lot more to feed a family. Alright, we got these big brown fish out there with looks like about 4 or 5 bands on its tail section. That's called a blue spotted grouper, or boroi. You guys see all this white snowflake stuff floating in the water? That's plankton. A lot of the marine life out here utilizes plankton as a food source, but so does the coral. But what will happen is, during the daytime, coral needs sunlight to stay alive. That provides an algae called zooxanthellae. That algae is then converted into oxygen, which is what the coral feeds on throughout the daytime. But at nighttime, what the coral will do is it'll send out small little tentacles that will pull the plankton out of the water and feed on it at night. Coral has 3 classifications. It's a plant, an animal, and a mineral like quartz crystal or diamond. And that is because it's classified as a plant because it needs sunlight to stay alive. It's an animal because of the scourge that resides inside of it, or a coral polyp pretty much. And it's a mineral because of the exoskeleton is actually lime rock. We're down to about 80 feet, and we're going to start going over into a little bit deeper waters, and you're going to start noticing that the coral is going to start to diminish a little bit more and more, because coral's average depth is 70 to about 80. It will go down to 150 feet, but it's not as predominant as what it would do in shallower waters. You see this school of silver-bodied fish with a black face, black tail? That's called a silver dollar damsel, or Hawaiian dacilus. It is an endemic species found nowhere else in the world except for Hawaii waters. Alright, we got that long string that's sticking up on the outside. That's called the wire coral. % of Hawaii's coral reef fish is endemic. But as we start traveling into a little bit deeper waters, just keep an eye out for like larger winged animals, similar to like the manta rays and spotted eagle rays, because this is usually where they're spotted at. sea slug. There's a, looks like a snake sitting on the bottom of the water. That's a sea slug or sea cucumber here in Hawaii. Did anybody have red on? Anybody have pink on?
Yeah.
What color is it now?
Purple.
Purple, yeah. And that's what happens when we go through, that's why you guys are probably wondering where's all the color at for the coral. And that's because as you go deeper and deeper, certain colors will be absorbed throughout the water columns. Red is the first color to be absorbed. Each water column is averaging 33 feet, and we've already went through 2 of them.
Oh my god, that's not
Your shirt too?
This is so big.
Oh, it is yours.
Alright, we're coming up to a place that we call the Oasis. And what it was is it's an ancient lava boulder that the fish had managed to turn into a housing development. Alright, we got a lot of our Mai'is. We got some pale-tail or fantail unicorns out here. See that black fish with that white band on his tail with the flapping upper and lower fins on the back? That's called a pink-tailed triggerfish or humulumu okole fish with the flowery bud. Alright, we got those really big fish. Looks like they're munching onto the coral. That's called a bullet-head parrotfish, or uhu here in Hawaii. And what will happen is the uhu will actually start munching onto the coral, and it'll take all the minerals out, and then it'll create a 4-letter word starting with S, ending with D. Sand, exactly. So when you're sitting on those beautiful white sandy beaches, burying your loved ones in that white sand, getting it in your drink, guess what you're getting? Compliments of uhu poo. Keep an eye out for eels out here too.
Yeah, but
They're all schooling together because of protection. Yep, that's exactly what.
We just pooped? Tyler would love that.
But most of these fish out here, they never leave this sanctuary. Because as you can tell, as we were traveling over that sand, there's not really much protection for them. So if they do try to travel out, there's some predatorial fish like the bluefin trevally or umilu, or the ulua, which is a giant trevally. They will actually eat these fish up for just because they're out there. Oh, we got some big fish out here. Those big unicorn fish. See those small chocolate colored fish about $1/2 size? That's called a chocolate dip damsel.
I know. Cool.
Mine turned the same. What? Yeah, and this was like
But that's turning out what it's saying.
these are old though. Hey, my blue still hasn't changed. Oh my god.
One swim, like right here for Sharon. Did you get it?
Let's talk about this one.
Alright, we're going to start heading into some shallower waters and get back over to the coral. But as we travel over the sand patch, take a look down into the sand. You'll see that there's some black pyramids sticking up out of the ground. That black pyramid is the start of fingered coral. Here in Hawaii, it takes coral 10 years just to grow a single inch. It is very slow growing.
See, it's all down there. Yeah.
The only living part of coral is actually going to be the edges, tips, and ends. Alright, we're going to start coming over some ancient lava flows that the U.S. Geological Services classified at just over 1 million years old.
Skeleton? That looks like a mosasaur skeleton. Oh,
This lava flow is complements of that mountain directly behind Kona called Lalai.
oh yeah. That's amazing.
Oh, look at that. Can't take it. Yeah.
Alright, we have a veke out there. You see that big silverfish with that black dot on the side? That's what you don't want to eat unless you want to have really bad nightmares. Alright, we're coming across a pair of raccoon butterfly fish. That's a yellow fish with the white eyes with the black band around it. Black band over its eyes.
Took two. See that? Lots of those yellow ones. That black.
Alright, not too far off in the distance, we got this yellow colored fish with a long white nose. That's called a long-nosed butterfly fish, or the lau wili wili nuku nuku oi oi. But when it changes its color from yellow to black for mating reasons, the name gets even longer. Then becomes a lau wili wili nuku nuku oi oi ele ele. Can anybody say that? Lau wili wili nuku nuku oi oi ele ele? No. Loosely translated into English, it stands for the dancing black lawili leaf that floats in the sea. The lawili wili nuku nuku oi oi ele ele. Alright, we got that beautiful, looks like a yellow side with the black stripe. Yellow stripe with the black stripe fish with the long pendant for a dorsal. That's called a Moorish idol.
Yeah.
Alright, those jellyfish not too far out there with the black dot on its tail, that's called a milliseed butterfly fish. That too is an endemic species to Hawaii. As we get closer to this coral, you'll notice that the edges of the finger coral, it's white. That's the only living part. Even that cauliflower coral out there at the very edges, that's all white. That's areas that when you go to a lot of beaches, they tell you don't touch the coral with your hands, and that's because the oil inside your hand will actually kill it off.
Oh yeah, kind of like in caves.
And then we also have a coral head of white coral directly out there. That's a really thin type of coral that looks like rose petals. Alright, we got a crown of thorns not too far out there. It's like green starfish. Alright, we got our Goodyear grouper out there. Keep an eye out for the Firestone flounder. He's usually hanging out in the sand though. Alright, we are coming up to our very first shipwreck. The metal that you guys are looking at is currently, well, it was the captain's helm of this vessel called the Predator. It's a World War II Higgins style landing craft, the ones you'd normally see in Saving Private Ryan or Storming the Beaches of Normandy, where the front bow hatch would actually drop down. And that's what this one was. But then the US Navy decommissioned it. Oh, look at that big Ulua coming out of the hull area.
Oh, look at the size of it.
That's a giant trevally right there. That's a big boy. That's very good to eat.
Oh, let's catch it. Big guy.
But after the US Navy decommissioned it, a private investor purchased it with the hopes of creating a shark diving tour. So he put the crane on, applied for all of his permits, and when he's waiting for his approval, a major storm came in, and the waves started washing over his sides. So the bilge pumps worked overtime to the point where they just failed, and once that happened, it turned into a very big bathtub, sinking directly on its mooring. You guys may have already noticed that skeleton, right?
Yeah.
That's our customer complaint department. Alright, we're gonna start turning around. You guys might have noticed the rocking. That is perfectly fine. What we call that is rocking the sub, and basically what we're doing is we are oscillating the port and starboard vertical thrusters, which are located in the center of the sub. Those vertical thrusters have to stay on at all times, because by U.S. Coast Guard regs, we must maintain a positive buoyancy at all times. So if something happens, we just float to the surface.
That's still part of that shit.
Oh, look at this one covered here.
Oh, look at that Bigelow again.
This too? Did you?
Alright, 2 weeks after this vessel sunk, a dive company came down and lowered that front hatch with the hopes of creating a cave to draw in sharks. Right down there underneath.
There's
You? Oh, like those balls, like those
the
rocks.
ball with spikes.
Oh yeah, what are those?
Huge up top. Yeah.
Those big black, you guys may have noticed there's some black bulbs with some spines on it. That's called a spiny sea urchin. Here in Hawaii, it's called fauna. Nope, they're not poisonous. They just, what happens is their spines are similar to glass. So when it does get stuck into you, it just keeps breaking off, so you can't pull it quite out.
This one. Right there. You see it? You didn't see it?
Alright, we got some orange colored fish out there. Those are called Potter's Angels fish. What else do we have out there?
It's so weird. Some places
Alright, we got some all yellow colored fish out there. That's actually called the yellow tang or the lauhipala in Hawaii. The lauhipala or yellow tangs actually did play a very important role in Kona's history. At one point, there was so much yellow tangs that as the waves would crash upon the shorelines, it literally looked like a wave of gold. So, the Kona coast got the nickname the Gold Coast. Oh, we got us looks like a queen triggerfish out here, burrowing into the coral right next to that, big silver fish. Right here on the edge of the coral rock with the lava flow.
Oh, right down there.
If you guys look directly down, you'll see a vana, and then you'll see a silver fish flopping in the waves. That's the queen triggerfish.
You see the river? All right. You see?
Alright, we're coming through a school of pale-tailed unicorn fish. That's that white, that black fish with that white tail with that horn on its forehead.
Look at the fish with the horn.
Alright, we're coming across, looks like about 2 or 3 of the silver fish with the big eyes. That's actually called a grand-eyed porgy, or mu here in Hawaii, MU. The shortest named Hawaii named fish.
This one.
But that shipwreck was down here for about 20, almost 30 years now.
Yep.
Oh yeah, you can see the newly starting up finger corals. That looks pretty cool.
Let's go. Really? I think so. Here, down. Yeah, you can hold it. No. You have to get it down. You have to put it down. It's down here. There. I don't know if it's actually going to focus on the coral. That would be kind of cool. Oh, there. Wait again. Pretty white. I'll try that.
Trying to see if I can see any manta rays or spotted eagle rays out there. Seeing a lot of crown of thorns. So how about I educate you guys on the crown of thorns? The crown of thorns actually is a coralivore, and what they will do is they will wrap themselves around a coral head. Then they'll spray acid onto the outside of the coral to the point where the coral will actually fall apart, just so they can get to that one little animal inside of it. Once they get that one little animal, that whole coral system is dead, and they just move on. And you guys will see remnants of what happens when crown of thorns actually get a hold of the coral. It's pretty funny. When the marine biologists here in the state of Hawaii figured out that the crown of thorns were actually overpopulating a coral area, they would actually come out and then cut it in half, trying to kill it. Well, what happens to a starfish when you cut it in half or break off a leg? It just rejuvenates itself.
Yeah.
So they actually started realizing they were doing more harm than what they were supposed to be doing, because now they just quadrupled everything. So one of them finally got smart and they said, okay, what we'll do is we'll just take them back up to the surface so they'll dry out. Once they did that, then they were able to actually combat effectively the crown of thorns, because if too many crown of thorns get onto a coral ecosystem, they will destroy the whole thing.
Well, is that real?
Is that holes?
Open.
Yeah, it looks like it.
Yeah.
Brick that looks like it.
Alright, we're going to start coming across what is some seagrass. The seagrass, there's only 3 of this types found around the world. It's called Halamina seagrass. This one is specific to Hawaiian waters. It's a calcium producing plant. It produces lime flakes. It is related to the coral, but it's just a plant. We got these big silver fish with yellow fins on it. That's called a yellowfin surgeon. Has anybody seen Finding Nemo? How many of you guys have seen it way too many times? Do you guys remember that one fish called Dory?
Yeah.
The one that I always kept forgetting everything? Yeah, she was a yellowfin surgeon fish.
This one, a little white one.
Oh, that's cute.
Well, we got our bluefin trevally coming out from underneath the sub.
Oh,
That silver shiny fish, that's called a flagtail tilefish. Oh, he just disappeared into the sand. Did he come back up?
No.
I accidentally put thing on the
One right there, it's laying on top.
That looks funny.
Yeah.
Earlier.
Like it?
Oh yeah, there he is. Alright, we're coming up to our second shipwreck, and this one is a sailboat that was sailed down from Alaska with the husband and wife crew with the hopes of retiring here in Hawaii. But not too long after they got here, the husband had to go back home for a family emergency, so he left his wife in charge. But something went horribly wrong. She thought she saw termites on her fiberglass boat, so she decided to use her flare guns to smoke them out.
Are they sluts?
Well, that didn't go so well, because she ended up catching that whole boat on fire, which then caused the propane tanks on fire, which went kaboom. She managed to make it overboard. At the time, there's a boat called the Tamare. It was a dinner/booze cruise boat. She made it on board that boat, partook in the remaining balance of alcohol they had left over, figured the only clothes she had left was what she was wearing, so she took that off to dry it up. Then when the crew came in the next morning, they found their alcohol contents were low, so they did an inventory of their everything else and found her wearing nothing but her birthday suit. So they asked her what had happened, and she told them. Ever since then, this shipwreck has been known as the Crazy Lady.
Crazy lady.
It is a very popular deep dive site.
Yeah, I got it.
Alright, we got our nice bluefin trevally rolling through the viewports.
I barely got that.
I just didn't flash it back.
See this coral that's on the stanchions rails? Oh, we got a shark on the opposite side.
Opposite side, where? Look at this Sharky. Oh, first time Sharky, that's how I
You know, the coral on the... So that's too big for a shark.
I just see him.
Oh gosh, I love the video.
There he is. He's sitting in the sand, right underneath the mast. You guys see him?
All the way down there?
Yeah.
barely,
Sitting on the ground.
barely got a glimpse.
That's a small. That's about a three foot white tip reef shark. Very tiny. That's just the baby.
Did you see it? Way at the front of the map. Oh, over there.
Oh, yeah.
Here he's going now.
Oh,
It's too far away to
oh.
About the shadow on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Far away, it's fuzzy.
You guys see it? Just sitting out there in the middle of the sand.
Yeah.
You see those bluefin chavalis and the luas? If he moves, they will go after him.
Oh, really?
Those bluefin chavalis and the giant lua will go after him if he moves.
Yeah.
It's a competition of the bluefin chavalis and him and those and the sharks have the same food source. A lot of those fish that's bobbing right above the shipwreck. So they wait for him to move and then they'll ram him in his sight and then they'll literally force him out of the area.
You can come for that.
You can sort this way if you want.
I bumped into him.
Oh, no.
He's coming closer.
White-tipped reef sharks, their primary food source is actually lobsters and crabs. So they don't have the jaw power, nor do they have the proper teeth to try to bite into the luas and the giant trevally that are trying to harass him. So they're not able to actually defend themselves, so they just swim off.
Oh, nice.
So they can't
No.
won't do anything.
White-tipped reef sharks will usually run from you. Alright.
Did you get him?
Yeah. We're going to get closer to the
There
shadow.
he is, he's moving. Hopefully, they
Come this way, Mr. Shark.
But this one was
There's another
kind
one.
of burnt while it caught on fire. There he is, right off to the starboard side, first teamboard. Look at him, tiny little thing.
Oh, yeah, two.
Look at him. Yeah, very nice. Thank you, Gabby.
Yeah.
Did you guys see him? That's a very rare sight.
Oh, yeah, you moved.
Normally we don't see sharks out here. Oh, the bluefin chavalis are going hunting. Either they're going hunting or they went after him. Because they just ran over the side of that, the sailboat to go after something.
I think the chase is on. I think the chase is on.
Alright, that is the end of our tour, sad to say. So what's going to happen now is our pilot's going to release a big burst of air. We have a $3.5 million sub, and our engineers can figure out how to put a periscope on here. So we have to use air bubbles to signal our surface crew to let them know where we're located at. We just got down to 106 feet, so if you guys wanted to, you guys could give your loved ones the biggest hug or kiss, and welcome to the Submariners Club.
Whoa, look.
How's the air?
So
Alright, so I'm going to turn you over to our pilot, and we're going to listen into this conversation with our surface crew, and I'll be right back.
Oh, look at that.
there's somebody over.
Atlantis surface, Atlantis 10 errors on the way. We're coming up from 106 offshore. The lady requests heading and clearance.
Atlantis 10, you're cleared to depth of 40 feet, making 040.
Roger, 040.